How prepared are you? Have you got everything in place to deal with any unexpected change? The world we live in is uncertain. There's so many things happening all of the time that has a bearing on how we live our lives and what we can and can't do. Whether it's some sort of pandemic, or whether it's cost of living crisis or natural disaster, and that's on top of all the other things that can happen, from a health perspective, accidents. So many people, myself included, wake up every morning and I just think about the stuff that I need to do in the day, and then I just expect that I'll be home later on. For example, I was just in a car driving down a motorway to get to a meeting that I had, and I just expected to get there, as I expected that I'll just be home later to get the dinner on. But how many people have that same outlook in the morning, and the day at the end doesn't look or hasn't turned out the way that they anticipated? They might have had a phone call with some terrible news, or they themselves might have been involved in something that they just didn't anticipate. And as a young soldier, I was very much in that mindset, and I very much got caught out by this because in the military, we had all sorts of procedures that we would use to mitigate any form of risk, as much as possible. So that whole kind of outlook, or that thought process of, well, that things aren't likely to happen to me, it's only going to happen to other people, was very much apparent in my own mind until the day where it happened to me. And I then had to play catch up. And physically, everything was fine because obviously, or cared for, I should say, because being blown up isn't fine. But, the military there to help me deal with everything from a physical perspective. However, mentally, my tool set was very much lacking. And that's what I want to get people to think about, is what tools have you got in place? Do you know who you can turn to for that immediate kind of social and mental health support? What's your language surrounding this? I was very much still in that frame of mind that, I didn't need any mental health support, and, that it's like talking is for the weak and that kind of stuff. So I never really had anybody lined up, or even, that thought process of asking for help. So it took me a long time to get there, and that was obviously, the longer it took, the more desperate things became, and the more devastating it became for myself and those around me. So what have you got in place? Have you got those people there? Have you got somebody that can just check in on your family? Have you got somebody that can come over and help out? Have you got from a financial perspective, have you got your finances in order? Do you have insurances in place in order to help you deal with any unexpected costs, or so you can still afford to pay your mortgage, or that kind of stuff? Do you even know who you need to phone to talk about these sorts of things, to get help with your mortgage payments, or that kind of stuff? Is your family going to be left wanting if something was to happen to you? So have you got everything in place to make sure that they are cared for? A will, or that kind of stuff. And I know that it's all doom and gloom thinking about this kind of stuff, and that's probably why most people don't do it. But it is vital, because to be left caught out like I was, there were so many things, that loose ends, that then just adds to all the worry. And it kind of made that whole process of dealing with the change so much harder, because there were so many more things that I then had to catch up with. And as the saying goes, prior planning prevents poor performance. And it's the same in this case.